And there's good brisk breeze, which is nice on a day like this. That wind pushed that ball out of bounds as well. Not the kick that Carlos Veracruz was looking for. No whistle as a man hits the ground for Waldorf. The Warriors keep the attack going along the sideline. Bernard Mwangi on the sideline once again. This is Mwangi. Centers it and immediately cleared by St. Francis. Fighting Saints trying to play it from the midfield. Taken away once again by Waldorf. Eduardo Arcanero towards the back line, and Carlos Veracruz is able to cut it off just in front of the back line. It is a sunny afternoon, right around 80 degrees. Definitely warmer than you'd expect this time of year. Good day for season debut of St. Francis soccer here in Joliet as the ball rolls out of bounds. It's going to be a Fighting Saints throw in, but first we've got a substitution. Looks like Aloha is coming out, and making his way onto the field for the first time is Diego Hernandez. Hernandez is the freshman forward from Romeoville, just down the road from here. So it's his collegiate debut. Go back to the St. Francis defense, and the Saints are able to clear it. Because it is such a warm day today, you really get the same type of conditions you normally would start the season in. Typically, college soccer season is in late August when you get your first game of the year. Because it was pushed back this year, the expectation was to start in the cold, but at least today that's not the case. Waldorf works their way up from the back line. Head across midfield, deflected by the Saints defense. Played on offense by Enrique Lucas for Waldorf. Waldorf still in possession of the ball. Eric Cortez Parra down towards the net, and played on a hop by Carlos Ferrer-Cotto. The kick from Nicolo Munari. Not going much of anywhere for the Warriors. Saints still lead 1-0, as they have since the first minute of the match. Into the air by Waldorf. This is Lucas. Lucas looking for Parra, but he overshot him. And a foul is called on Ashva. Yellow card given to Mickey Ashva. The 24th minute of this first half. Stefan Yakovlevic is still on the ground. He had a step on Ashva there, and Ashva tried to stick his foot out to stop the play, and really the only thing he could do was trip up the St. Francis midfielder from Austria, who's had a very active day so far today. And that time he fell to the ground, creating the yellow card and setting up this free kick for the Fighting Saints. Ball is sent down towards the sideline. Fabian Alvarado chases it into the corner, centers it, nobody there, a little bit too close to the net, and I think an offsides call has been made against St. Francis. We're going the other way. So the Saints are not able to make that chance pay off after the Waldorf yellow card. Instead, the Warriors will have a free kick from the goal. Might be right on the line, the goal kick line. Here's Lucas. Off to the right side. 20 minutes even now to play in the first half. More than halfway through this first half of soccer. Saints have held the lead all the way through so far, but they've not been able to add to their one-goal advantage. Waldorf has not had too many good-looking chances to try to even up the score. Carlos Veracruz has scarcely been challenged in this first half, and now Saints may be putting a challenge on the Waldorf defense. Getting in close to the box, that one sent well wide and out of bounds. Foot to Hunter Fuchs right there. Wide to the left by 10-15 yards. Just got a good kick on it. He had a good look at the net, but a little bit out of rhythm as he took the shot. So Waldorf easily was able to watch it go out. They take over on the attack now. Good ball work by Mwangi. But Carlos Viracoto was able to step up. Mwangi got a little bit ahead of himself. Raced by a few defenders, but was halted by the goalie. Lobbed into the net for Mwangi. Hit up into the air by St. Francis in front of the net. It's in a little bit of trouble here defensively. Trying to clear it. Ball still stuck in the box. And now it's rolled away. Lucas takes the shot from 2 yards outside the box. Deflected by the Fighting Saints. Knocked out of bounds. Waldorf throw in. Nothing doing for Waldorf. Knocked out of bounds. Antonio Coutinho, sophomore forward from Portugal, just checked into the game. He had a good look right there. Lost it relatively quickly though. So Carlos Viracoto sends away another goal kick. This one a little bit lower to the ground, not really affected by the wind as it slices across midfield. Gets it back for just a moment. St. Francis easily clears this time. Now they're on the attack. Now they're setting up the offense. He pushes it ahead. Good stop by Ashba initially. Gets by him the second time around. But the goalkeeper, Bonaidi, steps in and makes the play. Bonaidi just took that ball off the foot of Diego Hernandez. So Waldorf controls possession now in the defensive end. 17.5 minutes to play in the first half. Coutinho in the middle of the field, or Nicola Minari. It's Mwangi. Finds Coutinho once again in the middle of the field and deflected away by Avalos. Towards the sideline on the far end of the field and out of bounds. Throw-in coming up for Waldorf. It's tossed back. Set up for Mwangi. Mwangi rolls it back behind him again for Minari. Minari and Mwangi playing a two-man game here. St. Francis is able to clear it, but once again, straight out of bounds. We've got a throw-in coming up for the team in black. Tossed into the box. Deflected towards the sideline and out of bounds. Inching their way down the field. Throw-in by throw-in. Although we get another one right here. Mordecai Masaba, junior from Ghana, tosses it in. Headed towards the back line, up into the air, and knocked away by the defense. Well defended that time by St. Francis. They defended well throughout the game so far. Waldorf still has not gotten a clean shot off. They'll try right here on the offensive. In the middle of the field, Minari trips and a foul called against St. Francis. Free kick is coming up for the Warriors. And this will be about 28 yards out from dead center of the field. Four Warriors lined up around the ball. Now they spread out a little bit. It's just Mwangi as Ashfa backs up as well. Looks like Bernard Mwangi will take the kick. It's deflected high into the air by St. Francis' defense and out of bounds for a corner kick. First corner kick of the game. Half hour into this one already. First time we've seen this play. It's been really a well-defended game by both sides so far. It's surprising to think we haven't really had any corner kicks, but there really haven't been that many good scoring opportunities for either side so far. This is potentially a good one for Waldorf. The wind is once again causing problems, making it hard for Boykin Cadane to set the ball up, but he finally appears to be ready to go. There's the kick, it goes deep and beyond the farthest Waldorf offensive player. Minari was the closest one to it. He really didn't come close to chasing it down, so not a great looking corner kick from Boykin Cadane there. And Waldorf squanders what was arguably their best opportunity of the game so far. Saints are making a substitution as Mariano Caturba comes in for Archimedes Batats. First time we've seen Coturba in today's game, with just over 14 minutes to play in the first half. Ball knocked out of bounds. Waldorf gets the throw. Excuse me, St. Francis gets the throw. Right along the sideline and headed back by Waldorf. Here's Coutinho. Big touch by Coutinho, back to Minari. Minari into the box, headed away. Ball loose there for a shot, and it sails high and well over the net. Hannibal Abraha took the shot after it had been set up by Goydam Kadane. Abraha had a really good look. Probably the cleanest shot that Waldorf has gotten off all day, but really no cause for concern for St. Francis, even though it was a good look at the net. Not a real good shot. Carlos Photo barely had to flinch before watching that ball sail too high. And there's a foul called against Waldorf. Malik Rashid hit the deck for St. Francis. Sets up a free kick for the Fighting Saints. Goes ahead for Coturba, who gets his first touch. Ahead for Hernandez. Diego Hernandez along the sideline, looking across it. There is the cross. And there's the shot, punched up into the air and knocked away by Waldorf. Nice save right there by Bonaidi. Really good looking opportunity for the Fighting Saints. Just didn't quite materialize. It's knocked away out of bounds by Avalos. Very nearly 2-0 in favor of St. Francis after that last shot. The save was made by Bonaidi. So 12.5 minutes to play before halftime. Still a 1-goal advantage for the Fighting Saints. Tap backwards for Minari. Minari looking a bit closer to midfield. Coutinho right back to Minari on the far side. Across the midfield stripe, still controlled by Waldorf. He snapped this shutout during the first half. And a man down, foul is called against St. Francis. Free kick here for Waldorf. 15 yards beyond midfield, 16 yards technically beyond midfield, set up by Nicolo Minari. Freshman from Italy, one of two freshmen from Italy on Waldorf roster. There's the kick in front of the net, headed past Carlos Fuercoto, a goal. Goal scored by Coutinho. Antonio Coutinho, sophomore forward, off a nice pass on a free kick. He was able to head it in. Beautifully set up by the Waldorf Warriors, and the game is tied 1-1. St. Francis scored in the first minute, and now in the 34th minute, it's the answer from Waldorf. Second goal scored this year by Waldorf. First one had been scored by Eduardo Acarnero in their last game, a 3-1 loss. This time they're able to tie it up 1-1 with that goal. Second time they've scored in 3 games this season. Fabian Alvarado getting tripped up along the sideline. Goydam Kadane is the one who knocked him down, so here's a free kick. Pushes the ball away from its designated spot once again. Continues to be an issue for Alvarado, so eventually he just kicks it as it's rolling. Hernandez, one touch to Alvarado. Very quickly back to Hernandez along the sideline. Chased from behind by Eric Cortez Parra, but he's able to get the cross off. A header and a goal. St. Francis, just a minute after giving up the tying score, is able to take the lead back 2-1. Goal scored by sophomore midfielder Hunter Fuchs from Joliet, Illinois, off of a beautiful feed from Diego Hernandez. Freshman picks up his first point collegiately. Good ball work down the sideline between Hernandez and Alvarado. And Diego Hernandez was able to get off a beautiful cross right off the head of his teammate, Hunter Booth into the net. Here comes Waldorf. Flurry of activity the last couple of minutes after we didn't see very much at all for the last 35 minutes. St. Francis scored in the first minute, and the defenses took over. We barely saw any shots over the next half hour plus. And then in the span of 55 seconds, 2 more goals. One for Waldorf, one for St. Francis, and the Fighting Saints lead 2-1 in the final 10 minutes of the first half. Along the sideline, that's out of bounds right at midfield on the far side. Waldorf gets the throw in. Knocked out of bounds by St. Francis for a second time. The Warriors will toss it in again. Minari into the box looking for Cadane. Played on a high hop from Koto. Adam Cadane is trying to put the pressure on him there. After that ball a split second earlier, he would have given some big trouble to the St. Francis goalkeeper, but Koto played it nicely off that high bounce. Waldorf on the defensive side of the field begins another attack. Now all the way back to the goalie. Maybe reverses field. The ball on the far side, back to the middle. And he finds Ashfa. Ashfa looking for Lucas, a little bit too strong for him. Joao Cabral made a run for that ball as well. He came up short, kicked a little bit too hard. And back to the St. Francis defensive side after the throw. The Saints cut the ball across the field. And on the far side. Set up over there for midfield. And a whistle blows. Foul is called against the Fighting Saints. Ball. It's Ashfa. Get towards nobody. Some miscommunication between teammates there. The ball rolled off to no man's land. The Saints got to it first and knocked it out. Just beyond midfield, a throw in for Waldorf. Minari. Battle for the ball here. It's won by Waldorf, but St. Francis knocks it out of bounds. Mordecai Nasaba will get the throw in. He worked hard for it. Now he lobs it softly into Minari. On the sideline, headed up into the air, and once again out of bounds. That ball bounces up into the bleachers. 7 minutes to play in the first half. Nasaba tosses it in to Coutinho. Coutinho has the lone goal so far today. Or Waldorf. The ball goes out of bounds. Coutinho is trying to control it. Just one awkward touch. The ball ended up tripping just over the line out of bounds. So the Saints are able to take over. Let's push it downfield a little bit before Waldorf takes it away again. Now it's a 50-50 ball at midfield and won by Ashfa of Waldorf. Intercepted by Katurba. And a little pull there. Lucas. He grabbed his guy from behind, just a quick jersey tug. Is enough for the whistle to blow and a foul to be called. Stops at 6:23. Enrique Lucas's foul pushed ahead by the Fighting Saints. St. Francis. Right back to Cadane now. Cadane towards the sideline looking for Coutinho. Too strong. It was not deflected by St. Francis, so they get the throw. Well defended by Cara, and Cara ultimately knocks it off the foot of Diego Hernandez out of bounds. Going for Fabian Alvarado. Gets by the first defender's foot. Not the second one, but it's lost out of bounds by Eric Cortez Para. Alvarado sets the toss it in. Back up a little bit first. Fabian Alvarado, freshman from Plainfield, gets it in where there's some contact and a foul called as there's a man down for St. Francis. Diego Hernandez fell to the turf, able to pull himself back up relatively quickly though. He's doing okay, and the Saints will get their free kick. Far to the right, but only 10 yards outside the goalkeeper's box. Kick to the right side. Set up for Cortez. Cortez's cross to the back post and lost out of bounds. Saints looked like they had a chance there. But not played great off the back post. It goes out for the goal kick. Waldorf's able to play it short. Worked their way slowly downfield with just under 4.5 minutes to play in the first half. Cadane for a man who had turned around. St. Francis able to take possession once again. Rashid works it downfield. Ahead to Rashid, big through ball. Rashid looking for the shot, and it's off the side of the net. Good run right there for St. Francis. A nice attack, but again, off the side of the net. Jorge Navas, I believe, took that shot. Comes up a little bit wide off the side. Far side of the goal. Let's go back. Nice ball for Hernandez through the defender's leg. Rolled right in front of the net at the edge of the penalty box, and Yakovljevic fell down. Just lost his footing right there, and would otherwise look like a good setup. It's pushed out of bounds by Waldorf. St. Francis throws it in. Had a couple of really nice looking opportunities these last few moments. Haven't quite been able to catch them in, but they do lead 2-1. Getting very late in the first half. We're down to the final 3 minutes. Para pushed ahead for Goydam Cadane and intercepted by Mariano Caturba. Para gets it right back for Waldorf. Knocked across midfield and pushed right back. Nicolo Minari to the other side. Marco Faccioti can't keep it in bounds. St. Francis throw in from the attacking half of the field. That's in the middle of the field. High up into the air. Reverse side. Hernandez tries to keep it in bounds and can't do so. Took one high bounce, and the wind played with that ball, hit high in the air a little bit once again. That's hit up over 10 or so feet high. It's really been bothered by the wind. On the sideline, bounces a few times, and that's going to go out the back line. Curled back towards the middle of the field. Looked like it was going to go out for a throw at one point, but ends up going all the way out the back line decisively. So goal kick for St. Francis. They've got a 2-1 lead and looking to carry that lead into halftime. They can get one more chance of scoring a goal before then. It wouldn't be looked down upon by the Fighting Saints as Diego Hernandez moves along the far sideline, the near sideline rather, but Chody slides in, knocks the ball away from Hernandez out of bounds. So throw in for St. Francis as the clock continues to run. They're approaching the 1 minute mark. Saints are trying to get another goal if they can before halftime, but definitely limit the number of opportunities for Waldorf going into the half. Just make sure that they do have a lead after the first first 45 minutes of play. Kept in bounds there by Coutinho. Turba keeps it alive for St. Francis, but Coutinho takes it back away. That's Waldorf getting what is perhaps their last chance to score this half. Long way to go down the field here. This is Ashba. Ashba dribbles his way ahead, and he's intercepted. The Saints are able to push it downfield, back towards the far sideline, kept in bounds by the Warriors, and rolled back towards goalkeeper Josh Bonaidi. He reverses field a little along the near side now. 25 seconds to play in the half. Deflected by St. Francis, kept alive though by Waldorf. Here's Goydam Catane. Goydam Catane makes a nice move towards the middle. He gets a shot off, and it's just wide as Carlos Riacoto makes a diving throw. It's a corner kick, but they're not going to have time to get this corner kick off, as the half is going to end, I think, before they even send it away. Just 2 seconds now, and that is the end of the first half before they can get a shot off. Great play by Carlos Riacoto to end the first half. We're all set to get underway in the second half of action between the University of St. Francis and Waldorf University. A 2-1 St. Francis lead. Terry Bonadonna with you for another 45 minutes of action. Now just 44 minutes and 55 seconds of action as we are underway in the second half. Waldorf taking possession first and going from left to right now, shooting into the south goal as the two teams have flipped fields for the second half of this game. Very exciting first half. St. Francis holds a 2-1 lead. They got there in an impressive way. Their first goal scored just 35 seconds into the action. And then a long period of quiet time as both teams struggled to get any good chances. Really strong defense for both teams for a long period of time in that first half. Waldorf tries to get on the board early in the second half. Coutinho takes a shot and it's saved by Carlos Riacoto. Antonio Coutinho, who took that shot for Waldorf, was the one who scored. That ball bounces high over the head and into the net. Carlos Riacoto's goal kick wasn't a goal kick, it was a punch. After he made the save, bounces all the way from one end of the field to the other. It bounced just past midfield and then kept hopping, and it took a high hop over the head of Josh Bonaidi. And it ends up in the back of the net for a 3-1 St. Francis lead. And so the second half begins very much like the first half did, just 1 minute in. We've got a goal on the board. Josh Bonaidi, a junior from Milton Keynes, England, 6 feet tall, 175 pounds. And if he were about 6'3" instead of 6 foot, we might be looking at a 1-1 game right now. That's the second goal that is scored that just bounced right out of his reach as he tried to make a leaping stop on a high hopper and just came out a little bit too far. Ball bounded over his head. So Carlos Riacoto, I think we'll check to be sure, but I believe that's his first goal ever as a member of the St. Francis soccer team. He has started almost every game. This is his senior year. The first game of his senior year, so I was going to say he started every game for 4 years, but really it's been about 3 years that he started almost every game. And this is his first goal, which is not surprising when you consider that he's a goalkeeper that doesn't score very often. A really crazy way to start the second half as St. Francis now has a 2-goal lead, and for the second time in as many games, Waldorf finds themselves behind 3-1. This was the final score of their most recent contest last Saturday. St. Francis on the defensive side pushes ahead to midfield. Stopped there by Marco Faccioti. Lucas rolls it ahead towards the net and just wide, out of bounds. The shot was taken by Goydam Catane off the feed from Enrique Lucas. And he pushed it a little bit too far to the near side and out for a goal kick for Carlos Riacoto. It's going to be a St. Francis throw going from right to left. Saints scored in the first minute of the first half. And then, as I mentioned before, a long period of defensive efforts. This is going to be a free kick. I called it a throw-in, but a foul, a free kick for St. Francis. right at midfield. Antonio Coutinho snapped that long scoreless streak in the first half. He scored in the 34th minute. And then St. Francis, after they saw their lead drop from 1-0 to 1-1 tie, they took that lead back in less than a minute. It was, I think, 55 seconds later that they scored to make it 2-1. So this game has been tied twice, 0-0, of course, when the game started, and then at 1-1. But all told, less than 2 minutes of this game have been played in which St. Francis did not have a lead. Fighting Saints slow down this attack. Cadane still in control of the ball, though. Passes it back to Munari. Munari rolls it to the right. That's Bernard Mwangi. And Mwangi loses it to the Fighting Saints. St. Francis on the attack for a very brief period as it slid out of bounds from Marco Peccioli. So the Saints carried a 2-1 lead into halftime, and then less than a minute into the second half, a goal scores. We got a handball called on Anthony Marmolejo of St. Francis. Free kick here for Waldorf. Carlos Ferrer-Cota, the goalkeeper, ended up scoring 1 minute into the second half as he bounced it over the head of Josh Bonaidi. We're 5 minutes into the second half, a 3-1 lead for the Fighting Saints. In good shape right now. Mentioning Anthony Marmolejo a few moments ago in the game for St. Francis. Did not start today for the Fighting Saints. He's their leading returning scorer after he put the ball in at 8 times last year. It's a pretty high-scoring team last season as there's a trip and a foul call. The whistle blows to indicate Mordecai Nasaba stuck his foot out and tripped a Fighting Saint. I'm going to look at who that is on the ground right now for St. Francis. He's still down. Clock stops 39:15 as the injury extends things here. Player down for the Fighting Saints on the near sideline, grabbing at his right leg. He was tripped up again by Mordecai Nasaba and tried to make his way down the field. Dan Cross, fifth-year head coach of the Fighting Saints, standing near his injured player and talking things over with the referee, Desnick Recepi. This is the first game of the year for the Fighting Saints, coming obviously later than usual. Usually we're right in the thick of conference play by this time of year. This season, conference play doesn't start until February the 27th, in fact, so very late February. Fighting Saints will be hosting Olivet Nazarene. And that's when the real season kicks off. But a win today would be big just because you put that 1-0 on your record, it would stay there for a long time, at least as the schedule is currently constituted. There's an exhibition against South Suburban next week, and then, as I said, conference play doesn't start till February 27th. Obviously, non-conference play has been severely limited on this year's schedule. Diego Cortez, the injured man, is able to hop up and hop off the field. So play resumes. Cortez was down for a while after getting tripped up by Nasaba. He will continue to be administered to on the sideline now, but good to see him, even as he had to hop gingerly, the grimace on his face off the field, was able to leave without too much support from the trainer. So hopefully he's all right, and we'll see him again later. Waldorf trails by 2. They've got the ball. Waldorf, unlike St. Francis, playing a full fall schedule this year. Ball's hit high into the air, headed by Aloha towards midfield and knocked back the other way by Ashva. Knocked out of bounds. It's going to be a Waldorf throw in here. Waldorf had 6 games on the schedule in September. They only played one of them. The rest of them were either postponed or canceled outright. Back towards the sideline and out of bounds. So they've got a split schedule. They'll play about half their games in October and November, and then the other half in March. And much of the nation in the NAIA will be playing their games. Along the sideline, tapped towards the yellow line, stays in, and it rolls out the back line instead for a corner kick. Coming up for Waldorf. A weird play there. It looked like it was going out for a throw-in. And then the 2 players, one from each team, just kind of got into a wrestling match. They got tangled up, and the ball ended up rolling out the back line. And it's a corner kick with last touch by St. Francis. So a chance for Waldorf here. Ball is set up by Goydam Cadane. Cadane's kick in front of the net, headed into the hands of Carlos Ferrer-Cotto. Long throw from Cotto as it bounces 10 yards beyond midfield. Headed up into the air towards Stefan Yakovalevic. Now a kick from the edge of the box, and it sails wide for the Fighting Saints. Marmolejo looking for his first goal, 2020. We refer to this as the 2020 season. It's really the 2021 season. Again, the vast majority of the schedule will be played in February, March, and April of next year. So it's really the 2020-21 schedule. But most of this season will be played in 2021. Not create too much confusion when you consider that the plan as of now is to go back to a regular schedule next fall. So it would be the 20-21 season coming up next September as well. We'll try to keep this as straight as possible as a whistle blows. Foul is called against Waldorf. Trip on Jorge Navas there. And so St. Francis gets the free kick. 15 yards shy of midfield. Stefan Yakovalevic loses it for a moment. It bounced off to Aloha along the near side and taken away from him by Mordecai Nisaba. Deflected ahead to Hannibal Abraha. Taken back by St. Francis for a moment, but Waldorf controls possession again. Mwangi ahead to Abraha. Abraha works his way around a defender, deflected there by Malik Rashid. Well defended by St. Francis. Still working ahead for Waldorf. Mwangi loses it again. Back to Nisaba. Nisaba's pass deflected towards the sideline and off the head of his teammate, Bernard Mwangi. Goydam Cadane is the one who picked that one up of Mwangi. It's out of bounds. Last touch by St. Francis. Throw in here for Waldorf. Just over 35 minutes to play in the second half. I was saying before, St. Francis had a pretty good offensive attack last year. They scored 39 goals on the season. 20 games played, so right around 2 goals per game. But they lost the majority of that offense. Roughly half those goals belong to Rul Arasta Zabilo and Isaac Brown, both of whom have now departed. So Anthony Marmolejo is the leading returning scorer with 8 goals from last year. Carlos Ferrer-Cotto's leading scorer this year. I think that's the last all-out lock. St. Francis leads this one 3-1. The opening game of the season. Aloha to midfield. And a foul is called on Stefan Yakovalevic. He's a senior from Austria. His second year with St. Francis. He's a good player for the Fighting Saints a year ago. After transferring over from Neosho Country Community College. Waldorf throw in from midfield. Pachodi, a lofter, in off the chest of Mwangi, and a foul is called on St. Francis. That call went against Archimedes Bataz. And the free kick belongs to Nicolo Munari. 40 yards out along the right sideline. Munari sets it up. Looking for some help, and it's off the foot of Aloha, but deflected right over to Lucas. Now a chance for Waldorf, which is stifled immediately As the ball is knocked towards the sideline and out of bounds. Last touch by St. Francis. Warriors throw it right back in. On the attack again. Knocked into the box. Backside, and it's headed away by the Fighting Saints. Chased back by Ashva. Waldorf still trying to make something of this possession, but they've lost it. And now a run for St. Francis. One-on-one in the middle of the field. A trip up and a foul is called just outside the box. Heck of a run right there. We've got a red card, and that means an ejection coming up. A long run. St. Francis found themselves one-on-one. That was Archimedes Bataz. It's hard to tell from here, but tripped up from behind by Eric Cortez Parra. And really, it was the only thing Parra could do to prevent that goal from scoring. And as a result, he gets a red card, and he also has a bruised leg. He's limping off the field. He's done for the rest of the day. 32 minutes, 39 seconds on the clock. St. Francis already has a 2-goal lead, and now they've got a chance to go ahead 3-1 with a man advantage. They're able to score off this free kick, and that foul was committed just about 3 yards outside the box. So it's not a penalty kick. Set up by Malik Rashid. Just over 22 yards away, slightly to the right of the net. Again, if he scores here, it's not only a 3-goal lead, but it's a 3-goal lead with a man advantage the rest of the way. This would go a huge boost towards winning this game as Malik Rashid sends it away. It's deflected out of bounds for a corner kick. Even without scoring there, or if they don't score the rest of this possession, which they still do have a chance, of course, with an opportunity now from the corner. Even having a 2-goal lead with a 1-man advantage over the final half hour. That is a tall hill to climb for Waldorf. Stefan Yakovalevic will take a set kick here. Malik Rashid on the free kick. Yakovalevic from the corner. Sends it back off the head of a teammate. There's a Loa trying to get to it, but knocked away by the Warriors. Still a chance for Malik Rashid as he misses it. One past the goalkeeper's left 4-1 lead. Rashid from about 25 yards out, just to the right of the net. Actually, a similar spot to where his free kick had been just a few moments ago. A little bit further back. But after the corner kick was stifled, the header rolled right back to Rashid, and he sent a laser beam out of the reach of Josh Bonaidi. Four to 1 now. St. Francis has the lead. And that is a big lead under any circumstances. You've got just 31 minutes to play in the game. Playing with a man advantage, even bigger. It's high up at midfield. Yakovalevic was down on the ground. He was hit down there, so foul is called on Waldorf. And now Yakovalevic departs. Straight to the trainer's table. He might have an open cut. That's why he had to leave. No replacement yet for St. Francis. So the clock stops. After Foose sends up, Topping off the bench, he's going to come up. Here's Jorge Navas going forward to the edge of the penalty box. Knocked back and forth. Handball, I believe, call against Waldorf. Beautiful Friday afternoon, and still fairly early October, close to mid-October in Joliet. First game of the year for St. Francis. They're the first CCAC team to take the field in 2020. Rashid, goal scorer a little while ago. Gets the free kick here. Puts this one on net. But a stop made this time by Bonahidi. 4-1, St. Francis leads. Under a half hour to play in the game. They have led this one throughout. Scored a goal in the opening minute. Waldorf eventually came back to tie it. St. Francis scored again within a minute. As I said before, fewer than 2 minutes of this game have been played without St. Francis being in front. Hernandez sticks his foot out and knocks that ball off towards the sideline and out of bounds. Throw in for the Warriors. Here's Coutinho. Coutinho works his way towards the back line, slid away from him and out the line. It's a corner kick. They play it in short. Mwangi in front of the net. It's clear. Marmolejo has a nice first touch. Long run from Nasaba. Nasaba and Marmolejo both go after it. Marmolejo trips and a whistle blows. Or did it? No whistle. Saints were looking for the whistle. They wanted a foul on Nasaba. The foul is going to be called instead now. At the end of that play on Marmolejo as Nasaba draws the free kick. It's one-on-one, Marmolejo against Nasaba. Nasaba won it. Marmolejo tripped, and hard to tell from here, but the play was right in front of the press box, and it did look like it was clean on Nasaba's part. Marmolejo fouled, but no call was made, and so the potentially great run for St. Francis was stopped right there. Nasaba just a little bit too speedy. Waldorf's got to work in a hurry here if they want to get back into this game. Playing with just 9 on the field. Into the box, and Carlos Cortez lets it slow down. Picks it up. St. Francis was a 9-win team a year ago. Before they lost a lot of talent from last year, but so far so good this season. It's been impressive to start this one. That's towards the sideline. For Hernandez. Hernandez tries to send it through. Nasaba up into the air. Marmolejo able to chase it down. Marmolejo in the box takes a shot, and he just misses it. Off the side of the net. That was off the mark by less than a foot, and it didn't look like Josh Bonahidi is going to be able to stop it. He made a play on it, but Marmolejo had him beat. They're just a little bit more accurate. I think we're looking at a 5-1 game right now. Instead, it's still 4-1. 26.5 minutes to play. To the far side. Pushed back towards the middle. Chody hits it into the air. And Ashva tries to save it, but it ends up going out for a corner kick. Saints get another chance to add to their lead here. Waldorf off to a tough start this year. They're 0-2. Trying to avoid falling to 0-3. This is a team that won 11 games last year. Their new leadership, Brett Bentley, is in his first year as the head coach of the Warriors. He's got their last goal indirectly off of a corner kick. Sent in by Stefan Yakovalic. Headed away by Waldorf, but on the back end of that header, Malik Rashid stepped in, put it past Bonahidi. This time, Rashid, the previous goal scorer, is going to be the one to take the corner kick. Here it comes. the net, headed away. And it's Katurba coming in from the back. Katurba's shot's deflected and cleared high into the air by Waldorf. And then the wind pushes it out of bounds. Wind continues to be a factor on these high air balls. St. Francis throwing. Got a substitute coming in for the Fighting Saints. Diego Hernandez enters after a nice first half. Hernandez picked up an assist. He comes on for the second time today. Oscar Leon checks out. The Fighting Saints taken away by Milwaukee. Good defense by St. Francis to at least slow down the Warriors' attack. Waldorf still in control of the ball. Coutinho pushes it to the outside, and Hannibal Abraha slid and knocked away by Isaac Avalos. 24.5 minutes to play in the game. There's a shove and a foul. Abraha hits the ground, fouled by Malik Rashid. Free kick for Waldorf. Good opportunity here from 23 yards out. Nicola Munari sets the ball up to make the kick. Saints put a wall of 3 in front of them. Cortez is asking for some help to the side. The shot goes right on net though. And Cortez is there to fall on top of it. Nice save by the senior keeper. Keeps the lead at 3. Carlos Ferrer Cotto, 1 year ago, started 15 of his team's 20 games. 1.46 goals allowed average. Saved 81% of the shots that came his way. And he had 5 shutouts. This is a third of his games. So impressive numbers for Carlos Ferrer Cotto in his junior year. Up to a good start in his senior year so far. He's allowed 1 goal in the first 3 quarters of this game. And he scored a goal. For a goalie, if you score as many as you allow, typically that means you've scored 0 and given up 0, and you've got a shutout. Today will not be a shutout for him, but he can have that same ratio if things hold. There's a good attack from Waldorf, down into the corner. There's the cross, deflected away, and cleared by the Saints. Like that was going to go out of bounds, never quite made it. Francis trying to get rid of it. Waldorf was able to save it though. The Warriors still on the attack. Munari had to Abraha and knocked out of bounds that time by Hernandez. In the corner, Abraha rolls it towards the box, right out of Saints. White is able to clear it, and there's a foul. Foul on Mordecai Nasaba. Rashid to take the kick. Rolls it off to his right. Avalos. Across midfield. Nice touch by Hunter Cruz. Gets it right back. Tried to get it through.
Good idea, good idea.
He was looking for Anthony Marmolejo. Maybe a little miscommunication there. Marmolejo pulled up. The ball's probably a little bit too hard out in front of him anyway. Milwaukee down the near sideline. Win holds that ball up a little bit. Allows it to be chased down. We got a whistle and a foul, I believe, on St. Francis as Hannibal Abraha was held up a little bit. It's a free kick right on the sideline. For Waldorf trying to work their way back into the game, but running out of time to do so. We're approaching the 20-minute mark in this game. Down by 3, there's a header just over the net. Off the free kick, a good opportunity for Waldorf, and just a tad high. Out of bounds for a goal kick. Remains a 3-goal game, and as I said, Waldorf is going to run very low on time. Anytime you're down by multiple goals, it feels like you're low on time. When it's 3 goals, and you're starting to get late in the second half, then you really are short on time. Jody hits it in the air, across midfield, loose ball, and brought in by Mariano Caturba. Caturba's kick is deflected right back to him. Working for it, gets it off to Fabian Aloa. Low to Marmolejo. Marmolejo along the near side, working against Nasaba, takes the shot, and it's saved by Josh Bonaidi. Good save that time by Bonaidi. He's had a tough goal, a tough game, I should say, in goal this afternoon. A good stop that time. A collision between Aloa and Mwangi. And no foul is called. Mwangi wanted the throw in. The official told him he can't take it. It's not because there was a foul on the collision, it's because it was last touched by Waldorf. It's St. Francis's throw. Nope. It's a free kick. Side official called the foul. Anyway, it's St. Francis's ball here. I'd rather have the kick than the throw, though. Rashid watches the ball roll away from him again, and now he takes it and restarts the clock. Navas down the field to Aloa. Away. Midfield, or middle of the field, I should say. Going off to the right side. Down into the box for Caturba. Caturba looking for the crossing. It's out of his reach. It's going to be a goal kick. Four straight at home after this one for Waldorf, who is again playing their first road game, although it's not their first scheduled road game. They're supposed to play at Mount Mercy to start the year more than a month ago. That was postponed. They don't go on the road again until Halloween night. Or I should say Halloween afternoon, because that's when the game is, 1 o'clock game. St. Francis takes it away from defense. We're playing in the Chicago area again against Olivet Nazarene. The Saints play in late February to kick off the CCAC season. Down in the corner, it's knocked away, out of bounds. It's going to be a corner kick. Corner kick coming for St. Francis. Playing with a one-man advantage for a while now. The red card was given to Eric Cortez Para for a trip from behind, immediately preceding the Saints' 4th goal. Haven't really been able to see it in the gameplay that Waldorf has been short-handed. They have fought valiantly in the second half, haven't been able to break through. This is one of the times where being down a man really hurts on a corner kick. See if the Saints can take advantage. Rounder off the corner kick and back out of bounds, but this time last touch by St. Francis. So it's a goal kick. The Saints make the substitution. Eric Vega is coming in. Looks like Fabian Aloa will check out. Here come the Warriors. Again, they need to move fast. Time to lose right now. Coutinho, ball for a foul. Grabbed that Victor Fuchs on his way by.
Bye-bye. Text me how the game went.
Here's Fuchs. Pulling it ahead for Turba. It's picked off there by Munari. And now he starts possession up for Waldorf. Middle of the field, Munari once again. Tries to reverse course to the right side. It gets to Mwangi, and Mwangi loses it as Marmolejo knocks it off with his foot out of bounds. 15.5 minutes to go. Big lead for St. Francis. Mwangi back to the middle of the field and Caccioti. There's an interception for St. Francis. Still alive in the net. There's the shot and a goal. What a great effort right there by Anthony Marmolejo. He worked his way into the box around a couple of defenders, spun around one of them, and it looked like he had been halted maybe twice, and he just kept going, and then finally took a good shot from just inside the box and put it in. 15:07 to play in this game, and it's now a 5-1 St. Francis lead. And that time it was just a great individual effort by Anthony Marmolejo to score his first goal of the year. He had 8 of them a season ago. Marmolejo, now just a sophomore. He's already just 1 goal away from double digits for his collegiate career. Start today. He's had a big second half. Comes Waldorf. Now down by 4 goals and late. He chips it into the penalty box. This is a Braha trying to keep it alive. He does stay in bounds. A Braha towards the center, deflected. Back to Coutinho. Coutinho tries to push it towards the net. Headed away by St. Francis. There's Ashfa. And now the ball loose. Good body control by Mwangi to keep it on Waldorf's side. That's a handball. Handball against St. Francis. Muniri. Nice cross, a little bit too far out in front of Coutinho. Four-goal lead for the Fighting Saints. They've scored 3 times here in the second half. A 2-1 score at halftime. There's a nice diving play by Carlos Murakoto. Shot from Coutinho. Kick off the foot of Marmolejo. It rolls towards the sideline. It's going straight out of bounds along the track on the far side of the field. Sliding tackle made by St. Francis. They're in possession. Across the field. This is Vega. Eric Vega all the way down to the back line. Crosses it, deflected and nearly in. As Caccioti tried to clear it. Ball went the wrong way. Josh Bonaiuti was able to save his teammate from an own goal right there. Throw in here belongs to Waldorf, I believe. St. Francis ball is going to substitution. Sub in to throw the ball. It's tossed in back beyond midfield. St. Francis not putting on a huge attack right now. They're up by 4 goals. They've got a 1-man advantage. They're in pretty good shape in this one. Step back a little bit to play some defense. It's Mwangi. Looking ahead for Coutinho, knocked away. Eric Vega takes over for St. Francis. Again, the Saints are content to hold possession on the defensive end. Run some clock here. We have less than 12 minutes to play in this game. Milwaukee half back. chip towards the middle of the field, deflected away by St. Francis. There's a trip. Alvarado fell to the ground after he was tripped. St. Francis once again gets to run a little bit of clock with a sustained possession. Just keeping control of the ball right now. Valivic with the cross, headed away by Nasaba, but it finds Marmolejo anyway on the back end. Nice move by Marmolejo to get around Nasaba. Now cross, and out a little bit too far in front of the intended target. Out of bounds. Waldorf possession. At midfield, looks like St. Francis is going to get it back. They are able to take it back over. Vega taps it to Fabian Alvarado. Alvarado keeps it on the defensive side. Haro over to Avalos. Along the far sideline, they're across midfield. Yakovalevic. Across the field for Eric Vega. Vega waits back on it. First touch from Vega, hooks up with Marmolejo, who was offsides. Under 10 minutes on the clock. We're in our final 10 as the substitute comes on for Waldorf. We're going to bring in Joao Cabral and replace Bernard Mwangi. Midfield, nobody there for Waldorf, an easy pick for St. Francis. All right, tapped ahead, gets him right back. Again, the Fighting Saints are content to let some time run off the clock here. Already a big lead for the Fighting Saints. They scored in the first minute of each half. Been able to tack on at least one more goal in each half as well. 2 total in the first half, 3 here in the second. 2 of them since the red card was given to Eric Cortez Parra. It was never really the same game from that point on. Waldorf's been desperately trying to stay alive without Cortez Parra out there, but St. Francis has dominated, scoring 2 goals. We've had less than a half hour now. Still some time left for Waldorf to try to make some noise, but they need to score about a goal every 2 minutes at this point. We need to hope St. Francis doesn't score again. They're on the attack right now. It's Eric Vega. Vega looking in front of him. There's 2 teammates, including Marmolejo. Marmolejo loses the ball there to Hannibal Abraha. Substitute for the Fighting Saints, Archimedes Bataz is back in. Rashid is coming out. Rashid's had a really nice game today, including maybe the most impressive goal that has been scored in this one. Remember that the goalkeeper scored one as well. Chody keeps it alive. Give an extra kick to Eric Vega for good measure. Frustration starting to set in for Waldorf. Along the sideline, out of bounds. St. Francis gets the throw. 7:40 on the clock. Out of bounds off of Mordecai Nasaba. St. Francis throw from Alvarado. Intercepted immediately by Faccioli, who can't keep it in bounds. 20 yards down the field, St. Francis gets another toss in here. Alejo can't keep it in this time as Coutinho, I think, is the one who plucked it out on. Antonio Coutinho. Saints send it in again. Hunter Fuchs ahead to Marmolejo. Marmolejo works his way around a defender, can't get around the second man up. Ball Ball is knocked in front of the net, and now it's one-on-one against the goal. There's a shot that goes wide. Wide and high as well, I think there. Oscar Leon took the shot, and he had just the goalkeeper to beat. Josh Bonaidi was right in his face. Leon just didn't get a good kick on. Saints certainly would love to add a few more goals, but don't really need to at this point. Just hold up on defense. There's 6 minutes, they'll be all right with a 4-goal lead. Vega is ahead and is pushed right back all the way to Carlos Ferrer-Cotto. The more seconds that they could tick off the clock at this point, the better. On any given play. Down along the sideline, that's a long run, and both teams will peel off as it's clear that ball was headed out of bounds. It's going to be a throw-in for Waldorf with 6 minutes and counting still to go. This is Aziel Villegas for Waldorf, maybe his first appearance on the field in this game. Saba taken away, a loose ball. Two players get tangled up, and Marmolejo is called for the foul as he and Nasaba kind of tripped each other. Called on Marmolejo. Here's Nasaba. Have to head into no man's land. 4 white shirts around that ball. Easy takeaway for the Saints. Valverde to the far sideline. Good run down that sideline. Pulls up, tacks it back. This is Avalos back to Oscar Leon. Dribbles into the penalty box, takes a shot, and it's saved. It's Diego Hernandez actually. Oscar Leon, that looked like number 18. Hernandez had an assist in the first half. Go-ahead goal. Well, it'll turn out to be the game-winning goal. It was the one scored back in the 35th minute. If this score holds at 5-1, the last 3 goals have been nice, but so it's been all gravy. This one that really mattered was the second goal of the game. And that one was 51 minutes ago at game time. Over an hour in real time. 4.5 minutes to play in this game. St. Francis, I mentioned before, has an exhibition game coming up next week. The real fun for them starts at the end of February. Primarily, their season schedule will be played in March. There are games in April as well. The conference and the national tournaments will take place in April. Nice warm-up for St. Francis. They're going to be practicing for a long time, though, without any serious competition after that. It's good to get one game in. Looks like they'll be carrying a 1-0 record for the next several months. It's going to look a heck of a lot better than 0-1. Good clearance by St. Francis's defense across midfield. Good downfield by Hernandez. Gives it a good chase. Excuse me, well, after Fuchs, he gives it a good chase, but it's out of bounds. The difference between 1-0 and 0-1, I guess, is not that great, but when you're sitting on that record for several months, it feels like a pretty big difference. It is more than 4 months from now before St. Francis' next scheduled competitive game is up towards the standings. It's taken away by the Waldorf defense, but given right back by Enrique Lucas. Graha down the sideline looking for Cabral. Cabral, excuse me. Sticks with it. It's knocked away from him out of bounds. It'll be a free kick, I believe. Yep, foul called against St. Francis. Nope, throwing. State. Here's Cabral backing it up into the air. Bounces right in front of the line. Never went out of bounds. Carlos Viracoto is there to pick it up. Viracoto just rolls it out to his right. Right along the sideline. St. Francis will go to work. 2 minutes to play in this game. Very impressive showing today for St. Francis. They have the 5-1 lead. The 5 goals are impressive, obviously, but their defense has been really sharp as well. Waldorf does have the 1 goal, but aside from that, Carlos Viracoto has not been forced to do too much. I mean, one really nice save towards the end of the first half. Not just towards the end, at the end. It was really the last thing that happened in the first half. He hasn't been asked to make too many saves. The defense has held their ground this whole way, just about. St. Francis continues to hold on defense. They can do that for just another minute. They'll go home happy. It's on the defensive side of the field. Taken away by Henrique Lucas. Or rather, Nico Munari's side. Final minute begins with St. Francis taking the ball back. Stefan Yakovalev works his way downfield. Pushes it ahead. 3-on-3 here. Intercepted by Ashva. Ashva trying to keep it in bounds. Rolls along the sideline and lost out for a Waldorf throw. Waldorf's in no hurry. There's no time to score 4 more goals and tie it up. Just trying to finish on a high note. Braha to Coutinho. Back ahead to Abraha. One last chance to score a goal for Waldorf. Abraha fighting his way forward against Eric Vega. He trips, falls, and we've got a foul called with only 10 seconds left. Abraha is still down. And it doesn't look like they're going to be able to get this off. Abraha might be wanting the clock to stop. Here's the last kick from Waldorf, and that's it. So our game has come to an end. A 5-1 final in favor of St. Francis. Fighting Saints were very impressive in this game. From start to finish, and I mean start, they scored in the first minute of the contest. And from then on, it was scarcely close. Eventually, Waldorf did tie it up. They made it 1-1, score an equalizer in the 34th minute, but less than a minute later, St. Francis went back in front, and they held that lead the rest of the way. In the second half, they scored once again in the first minute of play as Carlos Viracoto sent one bouncing over the head on the other side of the field of Josh Bonaidi. That made it 2-1, or 3-1 rather. It was 2-1 at the half. That goal in the first minute of the second half made it 3-1, and then after that, a red card against Waldorf defender Eric Cortez Para gave the Saints the one-man advantage the rest of the way, and they took advantage of that 11 versus 10. They scored a couple more times. Malik Rashid almost immediately after the red card put one in to essentially put the game away at 4-1, and then one more goal as the clock went down. A beautiful move from Anthony Marmolejo made it 5-1, and that was their final score. A great start to the season for St. Francis as they improved to 1-0, and now they'll get a chance to sit on that one win for a while. They've got an exhibition scheduled for next Saturday, and then their first conference game is not until February the 27th against Olivet Nazarene. As for Waldorf, it's right back to the Salt Mines. They try to get that first win of the year. They've fallen to 0-3, and they'll play pretty much a full fall schedule before resuming action again in March. So they're back at it next week. In fact, not even a full week from now, Wednesday. They're back at home against Grandview University. They are now 0-3. St. Francis 1-0. And we're good on the old standings column for a little while. So again, our final score 5-1. St. Francis defeats Waldorf. Thanks for tuning in to the opening game of the Fighting Saints soccer season. Until next time, it's Terry Bonadonna signing off for the University of St. Francis. Enjoy the rest of your day.